Braden last night, he talked about being sent, right? That was the last thing you heard last night, was that we go out from here. We're going to be sent out from here. It's so awesome about the church, right? You come to Mass, you get filled up, and then they tell you to leave. Go forth. That's what Mass means. Get out of here. Go. We're supposed to go out. We come, we get filled, and we go out. Now, the truth is, though, and we all know this, that the world we face out there is not pleasant towards living out the faith, right? Most of the situations we find ourselves in are not easy. It's not easy to live the faith. And we've been talking all weekend about the heart and about hearing the Lord. And the truth is that sometimes saying yes to the Lord is consoling. And you feel that consolation, right? That's what it means when you hear people talking about consolation, spiritual consolation. Like, it's easy to pray, I feel God's presence, I feel His love. That was what was happening to a lot of you last night. Just that rush. I mean, some people were talking about like a cold rush just coming over their bodies, you know? Like, you can feel His love. But the truth is, you can't always feel His love. Okay? Liz's talking about the cross. There are some times in our faith where we don't really feel God's love. Or when you're praying, you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm talking to myself. And I'm looking at the wall. You know, nothing's happening. And that honestly, for most of us, is like most of the time. For most of the saints, their spiritual lives were desolate. Desolation. Not having that feeling, that affective feeling. Maybe not hearing God deep in their hearts all the time. And some of you, and myself included, we can be really tempted to doubt when we don't have those feelings. Does God really exist? Is all of this just made up? What happened on that retreat? Was that just like one experience and it'll never happen again? Desolation, brothers and sisters. St. Ignatius talks about desolation happening for 3 reasons. You ready for this? 1, not living up to our commitment to the faith. Not being committed to our prayer, to getting to the sacraments, or to living a holy life. That's one reason for desolation, and I think most of us have probably been there. Feeling that extreme loneliness or sadness because we're actually split apart from God. There's a break in that relationship. The second reason Ignatius talks about is simply that the Lord wants to try us. He wants to put us on trial. He wants to test our faith. It's the end of the year of faith today. Right? The Lord wants to test our faith. It's really easy to believe when there are 100 other people praying in front of Jesus and everyone's like building each other up. But it's a whole different thing when we're called to go out. So, first is not living up to the commitments that we need to. Second is that the Lord wants to try us sometimes. And third, this is so important, to remind us, desolation can happen to remind us that we don't merit this on our own. But that God's gift of grace and consolation is really a gift from Him. It's not something that we just conjure up or make happen for ourselves or make ourselves worthy of. It's a gift. So today I want to talk about the power of your yes in the face of desolation. Because desolation is going to come, brothers and sisters. A lot of you feel awesome right now, and you're going to leave here, and you might feel awesome for a few more days or a few weeks, but the desolation will come. That experience of just not feeling it. Okay, but faith is not a feeling, faith is a person, Jesus Christ, and that totally makes a huge difference. Okay, so what does it mean to say yes in the face of desolation, in the face of emptiness? Brothers and sisters, Mary's virginity totally shows us what this means, right? So Mary was a virgin. She was empty. She was a virgin, she was empty. She didn't have that relationship with man, okay? The fact that her virginity is stressed is a point that we cannot miss. So get this. She says yes from the point of her virginity. From the point of being empty. Do you see how important that is? She was empty when she said yes. And then what happens? She's filled, right? So from the point of being empty, that's what I want to talk about today. What it means to be totally emptied out. and to still say yes to the Lord. To be totally emptied out and to still say yes. Because brothers and sisters, and I said this on Friday night, Mary's yes totally changed the world, right? Totally changed it forever. And your yes, your consistent yes, has that same power to transform history, to change history. But we have to be willing to say yes from emptiness. So check it out. In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent. We know the story. Look at this. To a town of Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man named Joseph of the house of Mary, and the virgin's name. So in the first verse, the fact that she's a virgin, the fact that she's empty, is mentioned twice. Okay? This is an important point. And we keep going in the story. Brothers and sisters, we're going to be afraid. Saying yes out in the midst of all the stuff out there is a cause to be afraid. And Mary experienced some sort of fear. That's why the angel said, do not be afraid, Mary. She was fully human, like Liz was saying last night. She was fully human. Brothers and sisters, to be human is to experience fear in the face of things that are frightening. Okay? But she's empty, and she's afraid, but she's willing to be filled. The angel said to her in reply, the Holy Spirit will come upon you. So Mary is empty. She's a virgin. I was praying about this talk today, and especially in light of what Stephen was sharing last night. I believe that the Lord is going to raise up out of this little remnant here vocations, celibacy, virginity for the kingdom. That your life will be just totally a gift for the kingdom for some of you. Being called to this vocation to say yes just to the Lord. Okay? So Mary is empty. She hears those words, do not be afraid, and then she's filled by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will come upon you. Okay, so the Spirit comes first. And then the Most High will overshadow you, and a child will be born. Do you hear that? The Holy Spirit comes when we're empty. When we're empty, the Holy Spirit comes, fills us, and something changes. We're called to be Marian. Something changes in Mary. It's no longer her, but Jesus in her, right? And Mary says that yes. Yes, come Holy Spirit. Yes, transform who I am. No longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Mary makes that first. I know Paul says that, but that's really Mary's line. It is no longer I who live. When I say yes to Jesus, it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me through the power of the Holy Spirit. Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. Be done unto me according to your word. And the angel departed from her. So Mary's emptiness is filled. Brothers and sisters, you're going to feel empty. You're going to be emptied out. But he always wants to send his Spirit to come and to fill us. Now check it out. Does Mary just get filled up and do nothing? Wouldn't it really stink if Mary was a really controlling, like, helicopter mom, and she just never let Jesus outside of the house, like, ever? That would be horrible. We would not be here today. But she wasn't like that. She hears the call from Gabriel, and she goes out. This is the very next passage in Luke's Gospel. During those days, Mary set out. She traveled to the hill country and hasted to the town of Judah, where she entered the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the infant leaped in her womb. So Mary goes out, and she doesn't just kind of like meander her way to Elizabeth, like, something just happened to me. I'm going to take my sweet time. No, she goes out in haste. Brothers and sisters, this weekend is about making a decision. It's about saying yes and going out in haste. Like, I have something to offer the world after this weekend. I have something to offer my friends. I have something to offer my family. And I'm going to set out in haste. Can you have that confidence this weekend? Can you have that confidence in Jesus Christ and the yes that you said to him? That you're willing to go out in haste back into your school? Think about what that means. Are you willing to go out in haste? Not just to be like, man, that was a great experience. I'm kind of scared. She goes out in haste. She's confident. And there's an urgency about what Mary does. And Elizabeth says, blessed is the fruit of your womb. And how does it happen to me that the mother of my Lord should come to me? Brothers and sisters, we're different after this weekend. Something was different about Mary. Now she's the mother of the Lord, and Elizabeth recognizes that. For at the moment of the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the infant in my womb leaped for joy. Brothers and sisters, our joy is contagious. When we go out in haste, when we go out to pursue those who are lost amongst your peers, they will sense your joy. Something inside of them will start to change.